G'day, it's Heath here from pickinlessons.com. In this banjo lesson, we're going to take a look at a great tune by the name of the Rolling Waves. It's a traditional Irish jig, and it's in the key of D. So we're in the key of D, but we're playing this out of standard G tuning. So we've got our high G string, our open D, G, B, and D strings. So standard G tuning, but we're in the key of D. It is a jig, so we're in 6/8 time. So our count for this one is 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. We have 6/8 notes to the bar, and each of the main pulses is a dotted quarter note. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. So 6/8 time, that's the jig time. If you head on over to pickinlessons.com, you're going to find yourself a copy of this tab. We're going to take a look at part A of this tune. I'm going to break down some exercises here in this video, but you'll also find part B over at the website, and you'll find some play along and backing tracks at 3 tempos once you get to know the tune to work your way up to the tempo you heard at the beginning. pickinlessons.com. So right now we're going to jump on into part A, and we'll take a look at each measure, and we'll talk about what the right hand needs to do and what the left hand's playing, and have a look at a few measures as exercises as we work our way through the first half of the tune. All right, measure 1 here in part A. The first measure is actually a really good example of what 6/8 time is. So we have 2 groups of 3/8 notes. You can see there those first 3 notes into the next 3 notes. They're actually the same, but the 1 and 2 and So it's a good example of what 6/8 time is. We do have some variation in the rhythm, of course, but essentially at the core, that is the 6/8 time signature. 6/8 notes to the bar, grouped into 2 pulses. So 1, 2. So let's talk about that. Left hand is really easy, just first finger there on that 2nd fret. Right hand, each grouping of 3, we're going to try and play thumb, index, thumb. So we have thumb, index, thumb, thumb, index, thumb. We'll do that where we can, and that will really help to drive that pulse in the 6/8 feel. So left hand, really straightforward, just that first finger on the 2nd fret. And we have open, 2nd, open, open, 2nd, open, thumb, index, thumb, thumb, index, thumb. Moving on into the next measure, we'll kick that off again with the thumb to the middle finger on the open D string. Then we're going to roll back to the index and the thumb to the index while we play this little arpeggio over the A chord. And in the left hand, we're using the 2nd and the 3rd fingers. So let's play through measure 1 and 2. 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and Notice the first note in the 2nd measure is a crotchet or a quarter note, so we're going to hold that a little bit longer and then come back in on the 8th note at the end of that beat. So one more time, measures 1 and 2. 2 and 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a. Okay, measure 3. Measure 3, we have, again, 2 groups of 3/8 notes. This time, again, our right hand, we're going thumb, index, thumb, thumb, index, thumb, following that single string grouping, and our left hand, third finger, first finger, third, open, first, and open. First 3 measures, 2 and a. Okay, let's bring in measure 4. Measure 4, we have another quarter note to kick it off. And here we'll go with that first finger to the third finger. Third and first to finish it off. Right hand, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, which will lead us on nicely to the next measure to go to our thumb on the next note. Okay, so we're halfway through the 8 bars. Let's have a practice of those first 4 measures. 2 and a, 1 and a, 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 2 and a. A little bit quicker. 1 and a, 2 and a, 1. Okay, so work on those first 4 measures. Let's jump into the second half. Okay, so moving on, we can see that measures 5 and measure 6 are actually the same as some of the previous bars. So measure 5 is the same as measure 3, and measure 6 is the same as measure 2. So let's skip those for a second, and let's have a look at how we're going to finish the last 2 bars before the repeat. So measure 7, here we're kicking it off for the first 3 notes. Thumb, index, thumb. Third finger, first finger, third finger there on those notes. 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret. Here we have a semiquaver hammer-on, and we'll use our thumb to pick that. So that hammer-on from the open string to the 2nd fret. Remember the hammer-on, we're going to pick the string, the open string in this case. Then hammer down the first finger onto the 2nd fret without picking it again. And being the 16th notes, it's quite quick. We want 2 of those notes in the space of 1/8 note. 1 and 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3. So, measure 7. Ready and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and Okay, last measure. Before we repeat or move into part B. So first finger, third finger. You'll notice that we're playing in this open position out of what we would call second position. So that first finger there is going to cover fret 2. So your third finger can easily reach fret 4 when we need it. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Just hold that quarter note. 1 and 2 and index finger, thumb, index, thumb, index. Okay, so there's part A. Now, what we're going to do here is go from the beginning of part A through to the repeat, and we'll do this twice, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 1. 1 and 1 and Alright, so part A there. Let's have another go, but we're going to go a little bit quicker. 1 and 2 and Okay, if you head on over to pickinglessons.com, you're going to find the tab for what we've been working on, plus the arrangement obviously continues into part B. You'll find the next half of this lesson where we do have a look at part B and break it down, and you've got your backing tracks and play along tracks there at 3 tempos. Pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.